the creepy eye monster.
Oh,
that
the
you,
eyelash.
That you think is cute.
I
It's
love
not
that thing.
cute. It's so you know, they're meant to be like adorable, but they've got a tail that poison you. Got like 7 eyeballs, and
too many.
I think it's horrific. And your eye's like, oh, it's so cute, and I'm like, it's not cute.
Maybe just needed more eyeballs. Like,
Eyes
maybe
have
you didn't go hard
eyelashes.
enough of that.
So today we are getting into the behind the scenes of the art of the Great Dark Beyond, or Draenei in space. At least that's what I think we're doing.
Yeah, so some of the key characteristics for the Great Dark Beyond, we were really looking into exploring like how colorful we can make space and adding this whimsical feel that's in a lot of Hearthstone games. And it was kind of a contrast with the darkness of space, so it was really fun exploring like how we would go about doing that.
More colorful, more like exciting and like contrasty and stuff. So
It's an interesting subject to get into because space is kind of generally so dark and grim in most of like sci-fi, whereas Hearthstone is always about being really fun and more charming and whimsical.
Given the theme of space, to just be like, oh, we're just gonna do dark blues and purples and the occasional yellow star in the distance, but being able to kind of see a lot of like those more saturated reds and other kind of colors like greens and yellows like kind of pop up from like the card art.
when I talked to Leo about like designing Deirdre, for example, we really wanted to bring some of that design into the WoW and Hearthstone kind of style. It was like an axe and like there was some like kind of like fist weapons that they had, and they already had this really cool like piece across their chest, and I was like, oh, what if it's a demon artifact that they stole and it like gives them this powered up arm over their regular arm, and then they also have a sword, so they're still like dual wielding like you'd see demon hunters with like glaives.
I'd say my favorite effects that I got to create while working on the Great Dark Beyond was definitely Xortoth. He has this really cool ability where he basically summons 2 stars to like the side of your hands. And if at any point they collide while in your hand, he literally collides the stars onto like your opponent's board. So you see him get to fly out and go build up all this tension into this huge explosion. How can you not have fun with such a cool idea?
I'm just a big fan of Draenei and their aesthetic, and painting crystals is always really fun, and purple's my favorite color, so I got to combine all of those things into one art piece.
And it was really fun being able to kind of like animate the little crystals as like the energy kind of swirls in and creates this really cool climactic moment where then they reveal all the cards. It gave me a really cool design to work with.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things working on for this expansion was the style direction for the signature card. For one, we went with like this hologram direction that applied to a lot of the items and artifacts in the game. So artists would get like these items and they would render them in this signature style that kind of separated them from like the other things. So the second set of signature explorations was based on like iconic sci-fi movie posters, like these large like iconic portraits and body shots with like space like fight scenes going on in the background with lasers.
Figuring out the Draenei ships was such an important part. Being like a sci-fi setting, but in a fantasy universe, really forced us to kind of push the boundaries of like what things would or could look like in that respect.
But we need ships for like all of these classes, and so just making sure that we kept it like similar to the Draenei ships, but I think the only one I got to do is the Demon Hunter one, and now it's just like chains, wings, demon wings.
I think when they launched their very first starship for the first time and the UI pops up and they're like, whoa, what does this button do? And they see it launch up and a really cool minion starship lands on the board. I think that'll be a very exciting moment for players to experience for the first time.
Also the signature art. There's so much. I'm excited for everyone to start seeing all the different versions and the new unique styles.
Des, have you talked about the Cube Plains Eater?
No, I don't know what his name is. I feel like they have a name, and I don't know what they ended up calling it, because I just called him Little Guy. I don't know the name, but I designed.
Snacky Scoop.
No, it's not. I didn't name it that.
I don't know what they named it, but yeah, I feel like we were able to actually have some fun opportunities to sort of explore and push the narrative. I was kind of experimenting around with like Velen and his like cool triangle runes to kind of like call back to his original custom summon. Hey, Velen, he's got the cool triangle runes that kind of like form and pointing up. It's a lot of more of like a softer, slower moment for his character. And if you play Archimonde, it's the opposite. It's these dark green runes that are facing downwards. He's summoning a bunch of meteors. and you can tell there's like a very terrifying kind of menacing feel with him. It was a really cool opportunity that we don't usually get to have. So I'd say that was kind of a way that the VFX team was able to sort of push the boundaries on concepting ideas for our characters.
I mean, there's so many Draenei in the set that we did a whole lot of work on versions of like different kind of spacesuits and also just like kind of standard crew uniforms. The Draenei fleet traveling through space, so having those outfits make sense. I'm most proud of like the whole team kind of tackling this strange setting and just seeing all of the outsourcing art come in and all of the illustrations that the artist put together of interpreting this very unusual take on sci-fi.
We'll see you in the Great Dark Beyond.
Have fun launching into space. May your starships never fall apart.
Reach for the stars. We hope you enjoy the game. I wasn't thinking. I just said.
Don't step on the little guy.
Don't step on the little guy. Protect. What's his name?
No, we're not calling him that.
Snacky Squoo.
No, it's not.
Yes,
I'm not gonna say that.